in. All right, guys, good morning. Happy Wednesday, the 14th of May. Doing a little gold future short here in my prop account. But all right, a couple of quick sound checks. Make sure we are to the G. All right, good morning, Debbie. Good morning, Lorna. Good morning, Mirza. Good morning, Eric. All right, guys, it has been a pretty big week here for the Bulls. From a few different points of view, I think things look better than they've looked since back in early February, before the great flush of 2025. So from one point of view, if you look at a QQQ daily chart, on the big three indicator, we got the first daily buy signal since all the way back here on the 19th of February. And then we broke down 21 under the 50, big momentum break. We're flushing, we're popping, rejected, big flush. Pretty impressive stuff here. All right, momentum back above 0, 21 back above the 50, price back above the 50 SMA, 21, 200. Now with a brand new daily buy signal. Another example here would be, I believe, Meta. Yeah, Meta. Meta with the first buy signal since, again, the 19th of February. And then the one they call Tesla. Tesla's got one as well. Your last one was back here on the 27th of December. So it's your first daily buy signal of the year. A few more. Broadcom's got a couple going. All right, big time move on Broadcom. NVIDIA, not yet. On the gap up into 135, they might get a daily buy. And then the S&P's close, but no cigar just yet. But of course, compared to 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, much better looking chart. So here's the key, guys. Big pump off the bottom, big short squeeze. It looks bullish, it feels bullish, it smells bullish. The key will be, how can the market handle a good pullback? All right, first good back test, first good gust of wind. I'm looking at QQQ 490, which admittedly is about, let me see. That's about, it's about 5% below the current price. It's a decent size range, but I think the pop back through the daily 200, the pop back above the weekly 21, if they can keep price above those levels on a good flush, it is the bulls market to lose. And I do think if they can keep it above that 490, there should be a path here back towards the previous all-time highs. They gap it down, we flush. At any point, we're back under 490. You maybe want to pump the brakes on getting those calls. 490 QQQ, 5750 on the S&Ps. They've got their progress. If they can keep their progress and build upon their progress, they're in good shape here. But all right, jump into the where'd I put it? There we go. All right, jumping over here to the big three sheet. Let me just check this gold short real quick. All right. Yeah, so by far the best scores we've had since early to mid February. QQQ with 85 out of 120 points. S&P's got 83. We got 77 on the RSP, 51 on the Dowster, and 50 on the IWM. So compared to their best score possible, QQQ 120, S&P's 120. The indexes are at 58% of their strongest possible score. Way better than 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. But also room for progress. They might want to get to 70% of their best score, 80, 90. Dare I say it may be 100. The Big Ten basket, Broadcom 103, Netflix a 95, Microsoft a 94, Meta a 93, Tesla's got 85 points, 81 for TSM, 79 for NVIDIA. We got 79 on the Amazon. Apple and Google a little bit more neutral. Neutral, much better than really bearish. Apple 26 points and a -8 for Google. Big 10 basket is at 61% of its best possible score. Pretty damn good, but room for improvement. And then if we check out the sectors here, Bitcoin in the lead. You got the industrials, financials, communication, silver, XLY. And now for the first time in a long time, the big tech names, big semis, Mag 7, those big heavily weighted names, they're kind of creeping up the rankings here. XLK's got 83 points. Big 10, 81, SMH 79. You got the ARK ETF, the transports. Gold a little bit more neutral, energy neutral. The bad boys would be real estate, XLP, biotech, and healthcare. All right, and then checking the call wall and the put wall levels here. I couldn't get updates for Tesla, TSM, SMH, or MicroStrategy. Thinking a little problem on the platform, but a couple things here. So the put wall on the S&Ps pops into 5,200. The call wall for the QQQ pops into 525. The Amazon call wall into 220. The Broadcom call wall into 240. The Meta call wall pops into 700. Mighty interesting. Netflix call wall pops into 1170. I'm thinking at some point a 1200 call butterfly for Netflix. Nvidia call 5, and then the remainder are a mystery. From the master list here, which is about just shy of 200 different names, the weakest would be KHC, UMP, Pepsi, Merck. I got to fix that list. We got KHC twice. It's so bad we got it twice. UNH, the XLV basket, Johnson & Johnson, BMY, and Procter in the Gamble. So very much a healthcare theme on the weakest scores list. And then the good would be a Zscaler with a perfect 120, Palantir perfect 120, GE a 120. We got the call debit spreads working on MicroStrategy, some TJ Maxx, JP Morgan, the Bitcoin ETF, Melly, IBM, John Deere, MasterCard, Visa, KLAC, Industrials, Financials. This is a pretty interesting nested squeeze setting up in DoorDash. I'm not getting the white arrow just yet. Raytheon, ROP, and ISRG. All right, now all that being said, beautiful move off the bottom, big short squeeze, better buy signals, better scores. Again, it looks and feels bullish, but here's going to be the key. How can we handle the good flush from here? And food for thought. Take a QQQ 1 hour time frame. Okay, something doesn't look right here. And that might be it. Okay, so food for your thoughts. Now, I will say be very careful getting short just because we're quote unquote overbought. If we're overbought, we're extended, then you're getting a 15-minute sell signal, 5-minute sell signal. Yeah, you may be shorted back down to an hourly 21 EMA. But again, food for thought. That's about 2% below the current price. We could gap down 2%. We could open up flat and roll over 2%. If you're locked and loaded with a Friday call, yeah, that flush might sting. From a trend, structure, momentum point of view, it ain't going to change all that much. Right, crazy ass pop, gap it up, keep on pushing. At some point, right, could be today, could be next week. At some point, price has to meet back up with the hourly 21. All right, that could be a big nasty flush, or it could be QQQ trading sideways for a few days. They pull that 21 EMA higher. Now you've got the healthy reset. And like a few of you are mentioning here in the chat, from a daily chart point of view, we're about 5.5%. No, actually, we're about We're about 7% above the daily 21 EMA. It might be this week, it might be next week, it might be a few weeks down the road. It's a decently safe bet at some point. Price has to meet back up with that daily 21 EMA. That could be a very nasty 5.5, 7% flush. Or it could be we go a little bit higher and then maybe a week of chop. We're up, we're down, we're not really going anywhere, but it gives that 21 EMA enough time. Keep on pulling up, link back up in price. No longer overbought. So the key with that is just keeping that in mind. Um, I wouldn't want to be long in a fashion right now where today, tomorrow, Friday, QQQ pulls back to the hourly 21, and I'm getting wiped out of the game. If you got a few Friday calls, keep it small, accept max loss on your first good kickback. Call it the first pullback to the hourly 21 EMA. Then I think you're looking for a little bit more aggressiveness on the buy side. Good example would be I've got some call debit spreads on MicroStrategy right now. I've structured that trade in a fashion. I want to buy more from lower. And if they want to go from 420 to 450 to 500, I'm not going to complain, of course. But I've structured that trade in a fashion. I love the weekly squeeze here. But when I'm taking my initial entry, we're about we're about 10% above that daily buy zone. I can't buy it all the way up there in a fashion where a pullback to the buy zone is taking me out of business. So I'm thinking, all right, it's got a beautiful weekly squeeze. It ranks out nicely in a strong sector. They might want to go from 420 into 500, but if they don't, and I got to sit through a kickback into 400, 390, 380, I want to sit through that comfortably and probably look to buy more. Then they pull it back. Then I'm thinking about getting a little bit more aggressive. But all right, guys, a couple things that I like here. Take a real quick peek. All right, I'm out of my. I'm dipping my toe in the prop trading waters. I'm out of my gold short for a decent profit. So what could I do here? I bought a little Bitcoin futures last night. So the thing is, I can't have a day bigger than $1,000. I've got to hit a $5,000 profit target, but there's a 20% consistency rule. All right, let me go check micro real quick. Do. My bad, guys. Give me un momento. I shall keep it if they can keep a 15-minute buy signal. But all right, moving on. A couple things I like here. Let's go take a look at Tesla. Now, again, food for thought. I'm trying to feed you guys this morning. Tesla is, drum roll please, 5.5% above the hourly 21 EMA. And I think a lot to like here in the short term. You're back above the weekly 21. You've got a fresh daily buy signal. But it could also pull back about 5.5% and not change too much. That's where I think you buy a little bit more if things do hold up. All right, let them flush it, see if they can find support. They hold the hourly 21 EMA. I think you're buying some calls on your next, 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute buy signal. You can buy it up here, but not in a fashion where that pullback will, be devastating for your account and your emotions. That all being said, I did jump in here. I bought a few of the 360 calls for next week. I bought those in the open yesterday. And I think if they can keep it above yesterday's high, looking like a gap into about 343, If they can keep it above that 335 high from yesterday, they might want to go and sniff out that 350 call wall. But it's not a beautiful 4-hour squeeze setup. It's not near the daily 21 weekly squeeze. I can buy it, but I can buy it in a certain fashion. If Tesla had a weekly chart like MicroStrategy, I'm giving that trade a lot more time to work, and I'm buying a lot more of those calls. Bigger time frame, better entry, all the above. But yeah, above yesterday's highs, maybe a path into 350. If not today, then maybe next week. Nvidia gapping up into 133. Really, really impressive stuff. This is this will now be a 50, we'll call it 55% pop off the bottom. It's not the best looking daily chart. Um, we've seen better, we've got better, but it's a lot of progress. What I would do here in the short term, being that Nvidia is about 15, 16% above the daily buy zone, treat that 200 SMA like you would typically treat your 21 EMA. All right, that's my over under level. That's my launching pad. That's my buy zone. Anywhere above that 125, I want to find a spot to buy it. That could be a dip to a 15-minute 21 EMA. That could be a 15-minute, 30-minute squeeze. Back below that 125, they might have a flush back down towards 115-ish. And as good as things look, we are at levels where I'm not calling for it, and I've got no signals for it. But here's the importance of holding a good flush when we get one. Playing devil's advocate, this is also a perfect spot for a giant bull trap. Oh my God, here comes the market. We're breaking out. We're back above the 200. Come on in. Water's warm. Buy your calls. If you got a good flush back below 57.50-ish, anybody chasing those calls up here might be feeling a little bit too much heat. But they got the ball in their court for now. All right, let's go take a look here at, again, the MicroStrategy. So we've got the June expiration 490 500 call debit spread. I'm looking for a repeat of the move we got from back here in October, November. All right, they chop it, they trade it sideways, they print a big weekly squeeze. We got the white arrow, perfect score, A plus setup. And it's a nice path from 175 into 550. I'm not going to call for the stock to double or triple again, but if they could fire that weekly squeeze, I think up into 490, 500, shouldn't be asking for too much. But if I like it up here at 420, I still like it down here around 370, 360. It's an A plus setup at 420. It'll still be an A plus setup at 370, 360. I could buy a little bit more back there. Now that should move in hand with the Bitcoin futures. And this one's interesting. They're trying to test these previous highs. And I think what they really need here for a big breakout would be that momentum shift. So it's very much like the pattern you had from back in June, July, September, October. Big weekly squeeze. In a really good uptrend, really good structure, stacked EMAs. From end of June until early November, you're lacking momentum. Right, these are the MACD bars. They're below zero. Beautiful uptrend, big squeeze. It looks like a Lamborghini. The MACD bars say, "Hey, you got no gas in the tank here." Momentum shifts back to the buy side. They trigger the white arrow. Now they've got full alignment. All right, they break it out, they push, and it's a great 3, 4, 5 week window to be long on Bitcoin. Swing trade it long, day trade it long. Now, they might want to go for it from here, right? Push it, break it out, turn momentum, get the white arrow. If they can't on a good flush, that might be the spot to buy it. All right, one more kickback. They find a good level of support, then they turn momentum. It's the same exact signal, but a better entry. So I'm liking Bitcoin. I am liking the micro strat. Palantir's in beast mode. Beast mode, I tell you. From a day trade point of view, when a weekly squeeze is just fired, that can make for a great spot to pick off the 5-minute squeeze setups, 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hourly. You're operating on a lower time frame, but you're getting a lot of wind at your back from that bigger time frame squeeze I just fired. So for conversation's sake, if the weekly squeeze here for Palantir can take it towards that 140-ish target, if that is the case, not every 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour squeeze fires long, but a bulk of them do. Lower time frame squeezes fire in the direction of the bigger time frame squeeze. A little gap up into 130. Yeah, I'll be watching it for a 15-minute, a 30-minute, all the above. I also like Zscaler, but I don't think I'm going to get a shot to buy it before earnings. And they've already fired those squeeze, and they're not too far from that 250-ish. All right, moving on to Netflix. So what I'm watching here for Netflix is the 4-hour squeeze. All right, big pop, and you're pushing, and now you're taking a good breather. All right, little back test, little chop. No trend plot. Bleh. No trend problems, no structure problems. Brand new 4-hour squeeze. You do have a momentum problem. Today, tomorrow, Friday, any point next week, if they can get the MACD bars back above zero, and you still got the 4-hour squeeze, you still got good structure, still got good trend. I'd be a buyer looking for a path into 1200. Cheap at the money call debit spreads, a butterfly. Little shumplin at 1200. And that's kind of the bulk of it, guys. TJ Maxx still has a good looking daily squeeze. They got to keep it above 130. If they can keep it above 130, they should go and get the job done. Which that would look like a move into 134, 135. Back below 130, it's taking a little bit too long. But that remains very, very solid. I did want to show you guys DoorDash. To be clear, I don't have any buy trigger for DoorDash just yet. But I do have a triple squeeze. Weekly, 3-day, and a 2-day squeeze. The weekly here is pretty bullish. Same conversation as Bitcoin futures back in August, September, October of last year. You've got the compression from the squeeze. And that tells us one thing. It's building up energy for a big move at some point. Fixing the bust and move. Now we got to figure out the timing and the direction. Should that squeeze fire long? Should that squeeze fire short? Are they going to do that right here, right now, or maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks down the road? The timing and the direction. So you got 11 points out of 15. That is a respectable report card. Beautiful trend, really good structure, stacked EMAs, 21 above the 50, all the other criteria. Lacking momentum. It's a brand new Corvette Z06 in my driveway. Right, beautiful paint job, all the aerodynamics. Beautiful car, great to look at. I've got no gas. So just about all I'm doing for now is just sitting here looking at it. MACD shift back above zero. Now I've got it all. Compression in an uptrend, really good structure, full tank of gas. That can get you into 230, 235-ish. So it's not an idea for today, but maybe an idea for next couple of weeks. Right? Same thing for the 3-day squeeze and same thing for the 2-day squeeze. Then a few more here on this watch list. These are all the top scores. All right, DoorDash, John Deere, the Bitcoin ETF, JP Morgan, Smelly Melly. We got a couple of Visa, some energy names, and financials, not energy. Biggest thing I would keep in mind is just the fact that um, we could have a day sometime soon where QQQ's down 2.5%, S&Ps are down 2%. At the moment, I think it makes for a great buying opportunity. S&P's back to an hourly 21, Tesla's back to an hourly 21. From a point in the percentage standpoint, it'll look and feel pretty bearish. Um, if they can hold it, I don't think anything bearish at all. About the S&Ps and the QQQ, both printing 1-hour buy signals, pulling back to a rising hourly 21. Till things change, it behaves like an uptrend. You got your high, you got your low, you got your higher high, higher low, moving and a grooving. But all right, y'all, any questions for me, get them in the chat. I will get caught up, and then folks in my room will kick off the open together in about 10 or so minutes. Let me go check in some MicroStrategy real quick. 418, 419, Tesla into 343. Lori, in terms of why would I buy it now? Didn't I miss a big opportunity? Or didn't I miss a buying opportunity? Let me know which name you're referring to there. There, Mr. Sniffles. AIG for Mr. Sniffles. I like everything about the 4-hour chart. Squeeze white arrow A plus. 3-day squeeze looks really good, almost A plus. The daily chart could get a little bit better, but they're chipping away at it. It's a small thing, but a big thing. If they could get the daily 21 back above the daily 50, I think that goes a long way as far as supporting the idea of a 4-hour squeeze breaking out, a 2-day squeeze breaking out. But yeah, as a general statement, above 82.30-ish, it's in pretty good standing here. I like it. That's a solid one. All right. Good morning, Mitch, my man. Always good to see you. Coin over MSTR. I would like to think they can both live in harmony. Birds of a feather kind of thing. And they can all ebb and flow a little bit differently. You got MicroStrategy, Coin, Riot, all the above. 40,000 foot view. I think the driving force here down the road for MicroStrategy, for a Coin, all the above, GBTC, IBIT, will eventually be the weekly here for the Bitcoin futures. Maybe not today, maybe not next week, but at any point, if they can break it out and trigger that squeeze long, that's a great thing for the Bitcoin futures themselves. Great thing for MicroStrategy, Coin, IBIT, GBTC, the whole kit and caboodle. On the flip side, if there's one more kickback into 100K, 99 and change, you probably get a little kickback in the Riot, MSTR, all the above. I could be wrong, but I think JC might have bought some coin. He might have bought some coin yesterday. The Carter himself. Yeah, Mitch, you're right. Yeah, you're right. That's the joining the S&P 500. That'll do it. Good morning, Rama. AMD. They popping at pre-market. Oh wow, yeah. It's up. It's only up about 20% in the last 3 days. And to be really clear, I'm not calling for a flush. Just context. Up at 120, it'll be about 10% and change above the hourly 21 EMA. In theory, it could pull back 10% tomorrow morning. Nothing will have changed. And they don't have to. They could chop it. Up comes your 21. There's your reset. When would I buy AMD a little bit more aggressively? Or frankly, a lot more aggressively on a kickback to that 21. We can buy any stock anywhere and not get hurt. The key is just, am I putting myself in a position where I could get hurt? And yeah, buying it at 120, 10% above the hourly buy zone. If I'm jamming 10, 15, 20% of my account in that trade, that's going to be really painful. If I put maybe 1 or 2% of my account in that trade, and I've had a good week, I got profit to play with, it can only sting me so much. Self-inflicted pain, my friends. AB, I went with per the advice of Cody Ashmore. I went with top one here. It's all the brand new world to me. But if I can keep it up, I think I'll maybe be in shape for a payout request. Maybe early next week. Then we'll see if it's real. Cody's killing it though. He's been killing it with the funded accounts, all the above. So I figured, let me give it a good old college try. The worst I can lose is the $350 I spent on the account. But all right, I'm gonna let y'all go here. As always, appreciate your time, folks in my room. Give me a couple of minutes. I'm gonna heat up the coffee, and then I'll catch y'all for the open. For the rest of you, thank you again. Go get them, and I'll talk to you same time, same channel on Monday. Adios.